Thank you so much. My name is Sharmadean Reid. I'm the founder of the Stack World. It was a squiggly pandemic pivot, which we launched in March 2021. We realized that women were getting together on Zoom during the pandemic to talk about everything from Boris's Sunday speeches to at-home beauty, and that's why we developed the Stack World. It's been fun in the last 18 months. Are some members here, actually? Woo! Okay, we've got Stack members in the room. It's been incredible. We've now got 10,000 members. We've grown organically. Those members have created an amazing amount of communities. Would you believe it? We've done 2,000 events in real life and online. Those events have become masterclass videos, and we've got members from 34 countries. As you can see, our members are amazingly diverse. They tend to skew to senior and mid-level women. They are millennials, which is what Greg's asked me to talk about today. And most importantly, they are ambitious and mission-driven. About 9 months ago, we decided that as our membership was growing, they were fractioning it into micro-communities. So we built this feature called Clubs, which is our core product, so that those 10,000 women could form in these 450 communities, start their own community, join a community, attend an event, message other people, etc. They're very, very broad. One of the things that we notice in women's communities is that they were always very, very specific, working mums only or Web3 only. We were like, wouldn't it be incredible if you could actually just browse hundreds of communities and find a blended vibe of what you're into in one place? We supplement this content with our own content, and this is really, really key. We've done everything from financial literacy to leadership to sales, goal setting. We've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of workshops for amazing corporate clients as well as for our individual members. But what we found is that effectively we had a lot of FaceTime with them and things weren't actually so great. Over these last 18 months, as we've been talking, in fact, not even 18, I would say since January this year, we've been talking closer and closer with our community. We have a lot of FaceTime with them. I run a Zoom session every Monday and Friday, so we get instant feedback. And we realize that they are in crisis. I am an older millennial at 38. I'm very much of the generation who was told I could have it all. Just lean in, be a girl boss. You can do everything. You can buy that house. You can get to the C-suite. And actually what the pandemic did was put a halt on our dreams. Most of the crisis and the trauma that we are hearing from our community, why people, as we said, were quiet quitting, were because they were grieving a vision for their future that had effectively been sold to them. This led to a relationship that evolved, a relationship with labour. And I've used this word labour intentionally as opposed to work, because one of the things the pandemic highlighted was the unpaid labour of women, 11 trillion per year as estimated by Oxfam. In America is what American women would be earning. $11 trillion, isn't that crazy, in unpaid labour? The more that women started to know about this, the more we were like, what is this all about? Like, what have I been I've been working since I was 14 years old. I'm definitely tired. I've given everything to my career, you know, and my relationships and myself have actually gone on the back foot. So all of this has led to women feeling anxious, exhausted, and lonely. And lonely was the word we heard a lot. Whenever we said to people, why have you joined the Stack? It was always, well, I'm a little bit lonely. I'm at home. I just started a job during the pandemic. Nobody's in the office. I don't know anyone in my workplace. This is depressing. Let me come and join this community and see what's going on. We read really early on, and we did an event in March on burnout. It was one of our most popular events. Over 200 women came and talked about what is burnout right now. We also had a talk on sabbaticals. We thought, okay, so if women are actually going to quit the workplace, how do we help them do it with an open door? How do we help them talk to their employers and actually do it in the right way? These discussion dinners and these panels gave us instant, again, real-time feedback. So we knew quiet quitting was coming. By the time this was a trend on TikTok, we were like, yeah, because we've been hearing this for a really long time. There was this whole talk about the Great Resignation, but actually women didn't resign. They just became more and more disengaged. Peak return to work propaganda from the latest season of Industry, if anybody has watched that, where Eric is like, Harper, you've got to come back to the office, you're invisible. I was watching this thinking, wow, people really, really want to get everyone back into the office. And actually, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. While women are opting out and withdrawing, it's having a negative impact on their promotional capabilities. 58% feel excluded from meetings, 45% don't have enough exposure to leaders, and 64% don't even know how they're meant to be working. So we're on a fine line, millennial women. We want to withdraw and relax and, quiet quit and have a break after working for 20 years, but actually I'm really worried about people like Mark S. 1970. Mark S. 1970 said, Gen X by the way, thank you for all your quiet quitters. You make it easier for the rest of us to get promoted. And that is actually quite terrifying because right now today, we still have such a massive, massive gap in leadership, and hybrid working means women are not in the room. They're not building their network. So it's like deciding, should I go in today or should I connect with my colleagues or should I stay at home? My biggest concern, and the thing that we discuss a lot within our office at the Stack World, is how do we avoid a future gender leadership gap? If only 8% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women, and actually there's a whole bunch of people who are quiet quitting, I'm really concerned in 3, probably less, 2 years' time, that we won't have women who are getting to those executive level positions. So, closing the gender leadership gap has been an ongoing challenge, and I'm sure many of you in this room have taken part in some of these activities. In the 90s, everyone was talking about mentorship. If only you found a mentor, you're going to get on your way, you're going to climb that career ladder, you're going to get all of these opportunities. We then realized it's actually more about sponsorship. No, I need to put you forward for that promotion or that award, I need to advocate for you. Then we realized men needed to get involved. So then we had allyship as a trend. Everyone was talking about allyship, allyship, allyship. What are you doing for the women in your workplace? We really believe that the next phase of gender leadership gap trends is about friendship. Actually, I also think 2030s is about citizenship at work, but that's another talk that I might do next time. So we really focused on friendship, and we saw in our data that most of our users wanted friendship. They wanted to connect with people and become friends. We realized that the friendships they were making, so there are members in the Stack right now who've been to each other's weddings, which is wild. They've been on holiday together, they've invested in each other's companies, they call each other, they're WhatsApping each other. We started this community thinking that we were going to have this, economically empower women, help leadership, etc. And what we found was many of them were becoming friends. The reason why friends is important is because friends become your advocates when you're not in the room. If you have a woman on your team who isn't in the office for whatever reason and there's a meeting happening, that's the time when negative things can often be said. And when those negative things are said, they actually have a worse impact on that woman's reputation than when they are in the room. So advocacy when you're not in the room is a big thing that friends do for you. And over time, I'm sure many of you here have got people in your network that you've been friends with for probably 10 years, clients, colleagues, collaborators, etc. We encourage our staff members to build their new power network. So there's been a lot of talk about, hybrid work, remote work, every buzzword you want to imagine, but the key thing is work is no longer the second space. If it's not going to be the second space, then let's embrace it as the third space. That was a term coined by sociologist Ray Oldenburg, which describes all of the communities and institutions that, sadly, we don't really have today. Loneliness is the endemic that nobody's talking about, but third spaces are where communities and networks thrive. FYI, this is not a pub social. I cannot stress this enough. Whenever we talk about workplace, friendships, networking, chats, it's always like, oh, yeah, let's go to the pub after work. That's not what it is. And I can see all the guys laughing because you know it to be true. We are obsessed at the Stack with next level internal networking for women. And over the last 6 months, corporates have been coming to us and saying, how can we recreate this Stack magic in our organization? We've got like 5,000 women. They don't know each other. They're not connecting. They're not cross-fertilizing across teams. There's no innovation, etc. So we've built the Stack world at work. Instead of powering women's communities just for our members, we are now powering women's communities in the workplace. Employees sign up to a private network that displays hundreds of communities, and most people have traditional ERGs, Black at work, women at work, LGBTQ. But actually, our communities are connecting over hiking, nature, art, Web3, all sorts of topics. We like to imagine our clubs as like the best freshers week in your workplace ever, but like without the hangover. It's like, imagine if you've just started at a new workplace, you're sitting at home on Zoom, and instead of being like, where is everyone and what are they into? You can see all of these incredible activities going on across your workplace. Now, we know from speaking to HR managers and business leaders that they don't want to organise communities and they can't be bothered to do events, and they say, we're not party planners. So we make it user generated. The women in your organisation create their own communities around interest topics so that this is completely peer-to-peer within the company. And actually, they can host anything from supper clubs to workshops about new technologies, new topics, things that they're interested in. They can also connect with women on a deeper level in the organisation. We've designed our profiles to not feel like LinkedIn. They're not about accolades, you know, what uni you went to or like what awards you've won. It's like, what do you want to talk about? What is your mission and who is your favourite, where is your favourite quote from? Those are the 3 things that we encourage all of our members to put in their profile. So when you see someone in the workplace who's working in accounting, you might not know that they're actually into clay pigeon shooting, and you could connect with them over that. That's true, actually. Someone is into that. We know that this is really hard, so from the 2,000 events that we've created over the last year and a half, we've actually created templates for everybody to do it easily. If you want to create an event about climate change for your graduate team in a panel format, we spit you out a template that helps you do that super effectively. And we have all of our data that has helped us create programming that is actually growing and making our community like obsessed with the Stack. So we provide insights that you know what your women want in real time. If we show anonymously that, you know, 20% of your team are watching videos on the pension gap, we're like, have you done something about your pension? Maybe you should be communicating about your pension, etc. So our content is helping you serve your women better. I'm just going to say it again, this is not a pub social or a golf course or a lads trip or a client trip, one of these things, because this is what we heard that women were feeling locked out of and left out of. And that means they weren't getting the deals, they weren't getting promoted, they weren't getting the leadership opportunities that they felt they deserved. So just a few takeaways. We've done 2,000 events and we looked at the top 10. The 3rd most popular topic is conversations and debates. So this could be on anything from sustainability internally to maternity leave. The next one was self-development, helping your young millennial women who, as you know, are ambitious planners, they can do side hustler people, helping them with their self-developments. That might be year plans, career goals, etc., whether they are in or outside of your company. And does anyone want to have a guess on the most popular event we've ever done in 2,000 events? Parties. Well done. So we were really shocked. We hired a content programmer, graduate from Oxford, you know, super intellectual, was doing all kinds of book clubs. And when we looked at the data and she saw that parties were our #1 RSVP, she was like, so I guess we're just party planners then, aren't we? And I was like, actually, this is really interesting because it's showing, these are 2 of our members. Clara Tan in the green dress is a software engineer, and Olivia Simpson in the suit is a lawyer. You can see that these 2 are just having the time of their life. Like, parties and meetups is where connections and collaborations happen. So Millennial women want interesting networking topics at work. Don't just use your canteen and put some cheap drinks and hope for the best. Like, really curate networking opportunities that they can feel that they're developing themselves further. They want to grow together with their colleagues and clients. There's a lot of talk about networking up, as I said, about mentorship and sponsorship and allyship. But actually, if you create a playground for your women to all just get together and hang out, they all will rise together, and they're the ones who are going to be like, have you got this contact for me? Can you introduce me to this client? Your peer group is really, really important. And then finally, this peer group, they know, will become their new long-term power network. Don't think about this quarter or this year. Think, who are the women in my organisation going to be knowing in the next 10 years, and how can we help foster those connections? I was going to tell a cute story about these two, but I'm 20 seconds over, so I'll leave it there.